When my daughter was 5 years old, we put her in soccer. Now, if you've ever seen 5-year-old girls soccer, then you know that it is the at once cutest and most frustrating thing you've ever seen. We arrived early to the first practice to find 6 or 7 girls already there, and the coach showed up and throws out a soccer ball so that the girls can play and kind of get warmed up. And lo and behold, they all just stood there, except for that one girl. There's always that one girl that's a little more with it, right? A little more athletic, a little more kind of intelligent at that age, right? And so she takes off with the ball, and the girls kind of watch her, and eventually they catch on. And for a little bit, it seemed like there's going to be like a soccer match or something close to soccer happening. But what they inevitably did, and every time for a while after that, was they would just all clump to the ball in this big scrum of 5-year-old girls. They would just run directly to the ball. And this would happen for a few minutes, but after a few minutes, they just kind of lost interest. They would stop and they would start doing something else. That some of them would talk to each other, others would sit down on the ground, and a few, they would just run to their parents. But they weren't playing soccer anymore. And there's a lot of parallels with our relationship with the devotional life. For some of us, we're like that girl who kind of is with it and is really good at it and a little bit more into and understanding things and just kind of makes it work. But for the rest of us, a lot of the times, we just have been doing this for a long time or trying to do it for a long time without really knowing what we're after, that we've tried to dive in. And after a while, it just gets easy to do something else. And we just go all in and like these little girls all running to the soccer ball, but we don't get much out of it because that's not really how soccer is played, right? And so when we just go all in and like, all right, I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to start doing this, and we wonder why we've kind of lost our passion for it, it's because we really haven't stopped to think about what are we here trying to do? We know we want to get closer to God, right? That's a good thing, but what does that mean, right? Is there a way to really hone that down? What are we trying to accomplish? How will we know when we've arrived there, right? What does it look like to get closer to God? What are we shooting for? And we know that it's good to read the Bible, and we know that it's good to pray and so on. But what are we shooting for there? How do we read the Bible so that we can get close to God? How do we pray so that we can get close to God? Do we need a Bible reading plan? Do we need to pray certain words? Do I need to take a little chunk of the Bible at times, or just help us, God? What do we do here, right? And so we tend to only have general answers to these questions, and so it just gets easy to lose focus, and then when we lose focus, we lose passion. And especially when other things that are calling our attention away from God are just really clear, that becomes difficult to get on track with a solid devotional life. Like, for example, you know exactly what you are getting from your Netflix show that you binge. It is not a complicated relationship. You sit there and you consume, right? And you know what you're getting into when you get on Facebook. You know exactly what you're getting. Maybe you'll have that one friend who makes the rogue post that gives you a little bit of adventure, but it's typically going to be your friends. It's going to be stories that make you laugh, maybe some stories that make you sad and make you get serious, make you think, and memes. Lots and lots of memes. And perhaps if you post stuff, you'll get some likes and some comments that maybe will challenge you in that comment area, things that you weren't thinking, but maybe a lot of times just kind of give you a little that extra dopamine rush. So you know what you're getting into for the most part. And then there's your job. You know what? Sometimes your job is hard, it's hard to figure out, but you basically know what you're there to do. And you know what you're going to get paid. And you know what? Even though sin is deceptive. There's on the surface, it is pretty cut and dried. And so, at least on the surface, like we don't see the hook beneath the morsel, so we take the bite not understanding the damage that's being done to us and maybe to other people. But at face value, the devil offers you something, your flesh wants something, simple enough, and that's the attraction. And so when we aren't clear on what we are after with our devotional lives, it simply just becomes too easy to default to the clarity of things that we can say we know exactly we're going to get out of. Those things that are not God. And in the process, God can begin to take a place beneath those things. But I want to tell you that God doesn't intend for us to do things without a clear reason, and that includes our engagement of Him. God doesn't want us to just kind of try to figure it out willy-nilly, right? That He has given us direction. It's not just a guessing game. It's not just what works for us. It's not just a personal taste. It's not following a set of arcane rules so that we can have some sort of mystical experience with God. The answer is none of the above. God has given us clear direction in His Word. And so we're going to spend the next few episodes looking into that. But for now, know that you can have a clear direction for your devotional life. I'm not talking only about what you should do, right? But about what you should be trying to accomplish as you do those things. God has made us to do things with purpose, and He has made us to know Him on purpose. I'm looking forward to jumping into that with you on our next few episodes of Devos on Devos. God bless. We will see you next time.